Hi everybody, what to plant and what not to plant? That is the question, but first, let's see what's going on with the soil. Hi everyone, your creative educator here, and welcome to Sparks the Flames Education, where you get great science, math, and reading content, and really fun and creative ways of inspiring learning. Remember to subscribe, hit the notification so that you can see our new videos on Mondays. Like and share.
Subscribe when you see the soccer ball.
Hi everybody, today I'm going to give you an update about the garden. So I've been doing a couple of things, so I want to share that with you and get your thoughts and your opinion. But first, check out this pineapple. This is the first pineapple I actually ever grew, and it smells so good and it tastes so good. So yeah, here's my pineapple, really cool. Now for the garden, when we tested it the last time, the soil was pretty alkaline and it had lots of sand and a little silt and a little clay, but really mostly sandy. So now I've got to figure out what to do with the garden so that it can be a good space for growing really cool vegetables. So I went and I bought an organic soil. So let's check out this organic soil, see what's in there, see what's going on. Okay everybody, so this is a soil that I bought, and these are the ingredients. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be testing the soil similar to how I tested the other soil. So I'm going to see the acidity level of the soil. Alrighty. So here I have 2 samples of soil. And hi, so we're inside and I have both samples, one that I'll be adding the vinegar to, which is acid, and the other which I'll be adding the baking soda to, and the baking soda is alkaline, and I'll see what the reactions are. But before we do that, if you look at the soil, you can see that this soil is really a lot of organic matter, which means a lot of plants, a lot of maybe mushroom, but it's a lot of organic matter. There's not much clay, there's not much silt, and there's just not much mineral soil particles, but there's a lot of organic matter, and the organic matter, when it breaks down, will provide nutrients for the plants. And as you saw in the label, it comes with certain amounts of nutrients, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But here goes. So we're going to be looking at the soil that I bought to add to the garden to see if it's going to be worth it. If the soil is acid or if it is mostly alkaline. And how am I going to do that? I'm going to add baking soda, then I'm going to add vinegar to the soil. Alright, here goes. So adding the baking soda and then adding the vinegar. And let's see if we get a reaction. Okay, we have a reaction here. In the vinegar, we can see some reaction here. In the baking soda, also seeing some reaction. So I'm going to let it run for a bit to see if I can tell where I have more reaction. So giving it a little stir. Oh wow, we have lots of reaction over here. This is the one with the vinegar. There you go. And this is the one with the baking soda.
There's the ball. Subscribe now. Let's get back to the video. And don't forget to subscribe.
The garden. So they're both alkaline. So at this point, I can do one of 2 things. I can try to figure out how to make the soil more acid, or I can try to figure out what to plant in the soil that will thrive in an alkaline condition. So if we look at the soil that we have, the ingredients or some of the fertilizers that's in there are ammonia based. So we're going to check out what ammonia does for the soil. Ammonia contains something called nitrogen. Nitrogen generally exists as a gas in the atmosphere, just free floating. But plants don't usually use the one that's in the atmosphere. Plants absorb it from the soil. But to get it from the soil, it has to go through a process which is called the nitrogen cycle. The nitrogen cycle involves bacteria and other organisms in the soil. Those organisms will actually take the atmospheric nitrogen, the one that's floating around in the air that we breathe, and it will break it down and it will change it into a form that the plant can absorb. One of those stages includes ammonia. Yes, the same ammonia that has that strong smell, the same ammonia that we use to clean. But the plant doesn't absorb it in that state either. It still goes through another process in the nitrogen cycle and becomes a nitrate, and then the plant absorbs it. Now, why is nitrogen so important? Nitrogen makes up proteins, nitrogen makes up DNA, RNA, and these are the basic building blocks for living structures. So if a plant doesn't have nitrogen, it's going to be difficult for that plant to build new cells, build new structures. Plants that generally don't have nitrogen, you can tell because they start to become yellow, because nitrogen makes up something in the plant that is called chlorophyll, and chlorophyll is the green thing in the plant, and this is the engine for the plant. It absorbs the sunlight and it makes the sugars for the plant. So if the plant doesn't have nitrogen, it can't make chlorophyll, and if it can't make chlorophyll, it can't process energy to continue to build its structure. And talking about building, if the plant doesn't have nitrogen, it won't be able to build the structures that makes up the plant, the protein structures. Just like when we are trying to build muscle, we try to use protein shakes or we try to increase protein. That's because it has nitrogen, and nitrogen has the makes up the amino acids that make up the proteins that are the building blocks, the structure for living things, which includes plants. So plants need nitrogen. So when I look at the organic soil and it has ammonia in there or it has nitrogen in there, that's a good thing because the plants will have access to nitrogen. So that's one aspect of the soil, and I'll break down the rest of it in the next video as I continue to give you more updates about what's going on with the garden. So right now we have this organic soil. I'm checking out the organic soil. We tested it. It's still alkaline, similar to the soil that's in the garden. However, when it breaks down, it might break down and become more acidic. And now I just have to decide, do I plant things that are alkaline loving or do I change the soil? Here are a couple of the things I'm thinking of planting. You tell me what you think we should plant in the garden. Type it in the comments. The comments for this video is open, so type it in the comments. What do you think we should plant in the garden? Should we plant okra? Should we plant cabbage, kale, thyme, rosemary? Should we plant spinach? Is there something else that we should plant? You tell me and we will plant it. Thank you all for checking us out. Check us out next week when we have another video for you. And please comment in this video, comment and let us know what you think we should plant or what we should do in the garden. Thank y'all. Peace out and subscribe. See y'all next week.